All right. Shalom. 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 Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Quadash. I want to give double honors to my elder apostles, to my elder bishops, and to my elder teachers of Great Millstone that ruled well, which taught me this truth, who are the true leaders of Israel today, and also peace, love, blessings, and salutations unto the elect. All right, shalom. Also, shalom to the few sisters, the Aquat, that listen and follow this truth, who truly believe in this truth. Shalom to you sisters, to the Aquaf, and also shalom to the Israelite foreigners who don't have the physical look or the physical appearance of your typical Hebrew Israelite, but you've heard this word and you truly believe. Shalom to you foreign Israelite foreigners. Okay, you may have been raised amongst other nations or whatever, but if you hear this word and you hear this truth and you believe, you're an Israelite, man. Okay, shalom to y'all, shalom to the hopeful elect. And in this lesson, I just want to go into the fact that the Lord always had it to where we was going to come back to knowing who we are. And this is the number one thing that our chief enemy, Esau Edom, okay, more in particular, the elites of Esau Edom, okay, the, elite banking families, right? They spent billions and billions of dollars trying to keep this truth hidden from us, man. But all through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai, we have received this truth. And as I said, this is one of Esau's, biggest fears. That's why he's trying so hard to stop this truth. But obviously it's too late, man. Okay, this truth is spreading rapidly, okay, across the four corners of the earth, and there's nothing that this devil can do about it, man. Right? You have Israelite camps, great millstone camps throughout the four corners of the earth. And the reason why I say great millstone, because let's be honest, man, we have 100% truth. Right, we don't add or take away from the scriptures. We haven't sold out, beginning with our elder apostles, elder bishops, elder teachers on down. Right, we haven't taken the bag like you see a lot of these other weak, sellout ass niggas have done. We're staying true to Yahweh Shema Shai to the best of our abilities, man. And we edify to the best of our abilities. Right, you're not going to see us trying to make you pay for breakdowns and so on and so forth, trying to make merchandise off of this truth, which those guys that have done that, they're going to be destroyed, man. Okay, at least they repent, but they're going to be destroyed. A lot of them guys I don't see repenting, man, because a lot of those guys are those same wicked scribes and Pharisees coming back in the flesh, coming back in this time, right, waiting to receive their judgment. But anyways, man, at the end of the day, Esau tried everything he can, or everything he could, to keep us away from this truth. But it was destined for us to come back, man. Right? This is Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. Right? Speaking about the Israelites, speaking about you so-called Negroes, you so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, and you so-called Hispanics. Very hard-headed, very stiff-necked, very proud. Here it is, the Lord has his prophets out here on the highways and byways, giving you the warning, giving you the message, letting you know who you are as a people, letting you know that you're not black, you're not Latino, you're not Native American, you're not Hispanic, you're not Mexican, you're not Puerto Rican, you're not a Negro, okay? You're not a Cuban, you're not a Seminole Indian, right? You're not Dominican. So on and so forth, man. You're not Argentinian, right? We're letting you, you're not Jamaican, you're not Haitian. We're letting you know that you are a Hebrew Israelite, man. Okay, but you have 2/3 of our people that scoff at that. They laugh, they mock, they get angry. Here it is, we tell our people that we're a chosen people, we're a special people, pursuant to Deuteronomy 7:6. As a matter of fact, I'll grab it instead of just quoting it. Right? What is it saying? Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord Yahweh thy power. The Lord Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So we're above the nations, man. Okay, we're a regal people, very royal, right? But see, right now we're up under the curses, and see, 2/3 they can't get past that. They can't get past black culture or Hispanic culture or whatever, right? They can't get past seeing the so-called white man ruling over them. They can't see themselves ruling over the so-called white man in these other nations, but it's going to happen, right? But at the end of the day, we're kicking this knowledge through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai. We're kicking this knowledge into our people, but they don't want to hearken. They don't want to listen, right? Let me see if I can find this real quick. Real quick. You got to spell it correctly. You want to make sure I'm spelling it correctly. Yeah. Matthew 11:17. Let me see where I want to start. Let's start at verse 11. Salakia, man. Matthew 11 and Salakia. Let's start at verse 16. Matthew 11:16. But whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the markets and calling unto their fellows and saying, we have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. And it's speaking about this new song. Okay, this new song being the truth. This song, this truth that it went, so long without fruit, right? This truth that was hidden from us for a period of 350 years, right? The gospel, the real gospel, the great news, the good news. Here it is. We're singing the new song, man. When we go out to the highways and byways and we're prophesying, letting our people know who we are, letting them know who our power is and that we have a great kingdom coming. But 2/3 of our people, they're not listening, right? They don't like the tune. Okay, they want to listen to that low vibrational music, those lies. Okay, these false doctrines. Okay, it says, and saying, we have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented. Okay, and that's our people. But at the end of the day, we understand that the Lord has them here for judgment, to receive judgment. The Lord has blinders on them. They can't see the truth. He's blocking them from receiving the truth, like it says in Romans. What is that? 11 and verse 7. And I'm gonna read verse 8. What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. So, hey, Lord willing, I be of the elect and all the sincere Akim, beginning with the elder apostles, bishops, and elders on down, elder teachers on down. Okay, Lord willing, we are that number, because we understand that only the elect is going to make it. It says, but the election have obtained it, right? We've obtained this knowledge. We've heard this word and we hearkened, we believed. It says, and the rest were blinded. Yeah, the 2/3 are blinded. Okay, so they can't receive this truth, and we understand that, right? But we're still letting them know that judgment is coming for them, whether they hear or forbear. Okay. Verse 8, according as it is written, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai have given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. So the Lord got them blinded, man. Okay. Now, I want to go back to Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me. As a matter of fact, did I finish reading? Let me make sure I finish reading Matthew 11. Okay, Khan. Now let's go back to Baruch 2 and 30 once again, because as I said, ultimately, this was all biblical prophecy for us to come back into our remembrance. See, Esau thought that he had everything in the bag. He thought he had it all wrapped up, with its lies of saying that they're the people of the Lord. In 1948, they got the Balfour Declaration, right? They got that, the so-called state of Israel, which the scriptures don't speak about. No goddamn state of Israel, man. You will not see that in the scriptures whatsoever. Okay, so they thought, thought they had everything in the bag, man. They used their power, which really that's a part of their blessing. When you read Genesis, the 27th chapter, okay, they've used their power to obtain more, unimaginable riches. Okay, and right now they're in the process of trying to establish themselves with their so-called new world order under Satan. But there's a problem. Okay, the prophets are back. Okay, and now they're trying to get rid of the prophets. They're trying to get rid of all manners of truth speech. They call it hate speech, but it's really truth speech. Okay, of them being exposed. See, this is the time for them to be exposed, man. Okay, and ultimately this is their time to fall. And that's why the Lord has the prophets back. And as I said, it was always destined for the prophets to come back into their lots, for us to come back into our remembrance. Okay. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. As I said, Jake, very rebellious. They don't take heed or hearken into the message of Yahweh Shema Shah, this truth. They want to do their own thing, being very hard-headed, right? But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. And that's speaking about the elect, the hopeful elect, man. Because at one point in time, we were in the world, right? Not knowing what's going on. Calling ourselves black or Latino or Native American or whatever. Okay. Prescribing to the ways of this world. Thinking that everything was good. Ultimately thinking everything was okay. And when we realized that we were going off through the Spirit, at first, the first thing that kicks in is that fear, because we know that the Lord is not a God that's just all love. He's a very stern power, austere. In the ancient times, they called him Al-Shadia, meaning terrible demon-like power. Coming into this truth, we learned that the Lord controls both good and evil, as it says in Isaiah 45. And what is that? I believe it's Isaiah 45 and 7, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Isaiah 45 and 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord Yahweh, do all these things. So prior to this truth, we didn't have any knowledge of that, man, because they don't tell you that in these Christian churches or whatever. Okay, so more things have been revealed unto us via this truth. Also, that America, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed in this third world's war upcoming. We found out that Esau, Edom, the Edomites, the so-called white man are the Edomites. They're the wicked of the scriptures. We found all of this out, man. What else? That he's planning to bring in a MOTB, right? The RFID micro C-hip, to try to implant and CHIP everybody, man, so that he can have more control, right? We found out that, because it was one thing, we always knew there was something about this so-called white man that he wasn't right. But coming into this truth, we understand that this nigga is the devil. Okay, this nigga is pure evil. Okay, so these are some of the things that we found out coming into this truth. But see, when it comes to our people, they don't want to hear that. Okay, so ultimately, what do you think the Lord is going to do to them? They're going to be destroyed, man. Okay, but as I said, at one point we were stiff-necked and hard-headed and so on and so forth, but the Lord winked at our ignorance. And ultimately, we repented. Okay, when we found out that we were going off and we were doing things that were displeasing unto the Lord, right? As I said, the fear kicked in. As the scriptures say, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Okay, and then we understood that Babylon the Great, America, isn't the end-all, be-all, man. That we have a great and glorious kingdom waiting for us. We found out that the so-called white man ain't going to be ruling over us forever. Okay, and that we're above him and the rest of the nations, man. No matter how much they look down upon us, man. Okay. See, Yahweh Shema Shai, that's our power. Okay. So through the Spirit, we found all of these things out, man. As I said, this is the gospel, the great news, the glorious gospel. But you got 2/3, they want to continue to stay here in Babylon and be miserable. Because let's just face it, man, Jake, they know that they're miserable. Look at your favorite celebrities, man, how they, be getting to the bag and getting all of this money, and but deep down they're broken inside. They're miserable. You even got guys that are making, because they make it seem like the money is going to solve all of your problems, man. But as they had that song back in the day, more money, more problems, man. You got guys that's offing themselves. You just had a guy in the NFL a couple of days ago, man. You had one last year, a guy that killed himself. He played for the Cowboys. He played defense, and he had just scored a touchdown. And a couple of days later, he ended up killing himself, man. So they say. But recently, you had this guy. I think his name is Rondale Moore. He was a receiver for the Minnesota Vikings for the ones that follow football. He killed himself. So here it is, man. They make it seem like, oh, money is going to solve all of your problems or this and that. Nah, man. You know what solves your problems? This truth. This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Shema Shai. This is what solves all of our problems, right? Just speaking about myself, when I first heard this truth, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders, man. Because all of the questions that I had, I knew something wasn't right with the world. And all of the questions that I had, all of them were answered. Okay, even questions that I didn't even know I was thinking, they were answered. And that's this truth. But see, wisdom is too high for a fool, man. See, 2/3, they're foolish. As I'm reading here in Baruch 2:30, they're stiff-necked, they're hard-headed, hard-hearted. Okay? But see, the elect, the remnant, that's all the Lord needs anyways. As it says, but in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. And that's what's going on. This whole phenomenon of men waking up, men and women waking up to this truth and calling themselves Israelites. Obviously, this is not by coincidence, man. Okay, this is a spiritual. This is divinely inspired, man. Okay, through the Spirit, man. This is a divine power that is doing this. That's bringing us back to our remembrance, because it is biblical prophecy. You cannot get past the prophecies of the Bible, man. And Esau is finding that out firsthand. Okay, let's go here to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Okay, and I'll start from the top. The hand of the Lord Yahweh was upon me, and he carried me out in the spirit of the Lord Yahweh, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, the bones representing Israel. Okay, in a dried up, dehydrated, destitute state, man. And caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. Okay, and he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord, power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, thou knowest. And he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones. See, prophecy and prophesying is very important. So yeah, you have people, they 2/3 of our people, some heathen as well, but we ain't worried about the heathen. We're speaking about our people. They see us on the highways and byways in our garments. They laugh, mock, scoff, take pictures, make videos, whatever, right? Not knowing that they're mocking their own heritage, which is a very rich heritage, man. And Esau knows that. Why you think those small hats over there, those tiny tops, why you think they over there in the land of Israel parading around as if they're the people of the Lord, man, trying to blame us? Why you think they're trying to, steal our heritage, man? Because they understand, man, that they know that Yahweh and Yahweh Shai exists. Okay, they know that. But you got 2/3 of our people that are, a lot of them are atheists. saying, "Oh, God don't matter." Well, no, they'll say God doesn't exist, or you your own God, King. You know how Jake is, man. But at the end of the day, these devils, they know, as the scriptures say, they know, and they fear. Roughly paraphrasing, man, they fear and tremble. Roughly paraphrasing, man. But anyways, it's our people that don't know and don't care to know. And ultimately, as I said, they're going to be destroyed, man. But here it is, we're prophesying unto them, which is very important, telling them what's about to happen, telling them who they are, and they think nothing of it. But prophecy is very important. That's why it says, prophesy upon these bones and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai power. Unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. Yet a breath of life. This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. Okay? Ultimately, the Lord resuscitated us, man. He brought us back to life. We were in a dried up state. The bones representing in being in a dead state. Okay, and the Lord put that breath back into us and brought us back to life, man. And what is life? The word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay? And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You see? So I prophesied as I was commanded. That's a commandment for us to go out to the highways and byways, man. You see? That's why we're out there. First of all, because we fear the Lord, but second of all, we're obeying the Lord because he told us to do so. See, fear and faith, really, they go hand in hand. Okay? So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. Right? You see that, and that's why you see so many Israelite camps. Okay, and as I said, here at Great Millstone, we have the 100% truth. But you even got these, other Israelite camps that are off in doctrine, but they at least let you know that you're a Hebrew Israelite. They'll let you know some of the entry level stuff. Okay, but at the end of the day, the true prophets are out there, man. Okay, and as I said, you don't have to be up under a great millstone, but as long as you're preaching the 100% truth of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and you're not adding or taking away from the scriptures, then you're doing as the Lord commanded. You're in the right spirit. You see? So those are the ones that the Lord has set up to ultimately put that breath back into Israel, beginning with the elect. Okay, that's who it starts with, the remnant. Verse 8, and when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord power, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he was commanded, Salakia. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came in to them, and they lived and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army. That's why you see these Israelite camps. Okay, this is all spiritual, man. Biblical prophecy. Let me grab this, and I'll end off on this. Revelation, the 11th chapter, and the 11th verse. And after 3 days and a half, a period of 350 years, from 1619 to 1969. Okay, 1970, when the Lord sent back Elder Abba Bivens to bring this truth back into the earth. Like it says in the book of Micah, or is it Malachi, the 4th chapter, Malachi chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet, and that's who we believe to be High Priest Elder Abba Bivens. Okay. Behold, I will send you. And another thing, when you in order for you to understand this truth, you got to understand reincarnation. Okay, and that's something that goes over a lot of people's heads because they're carnal men. right? They're thinking of the flesh. They're not thinking of the spiritual. For some reason, they don't think that the Lord can uh, uh, take a spirit out of somebody, put that spirit back in the spiritual realm for a period of time, and send that same spirit back into the earth in a new body. And that's what reincarnation is. Back in the flesh. Re meaning back. Incarnate, or carne meaning flesh. Back in the flesh. Reincarnation. But for some reason, these people think that, the Lord can't do that. Now here it is. They believe Esau can do anything. You see what Esau doing is AI technology and so on and so forth. He's talking about going to the moon, which this nigga never went to the moon. He can't go to the moon. But you got people out here that actually believe that shit, man. Especially our people. Now you do have a lot of our people waking up to Esau's bullshit, but then they're not even, instead of them coming into the truth, they're getting involved in these other, strange doctrines, man. But it is what it is. Going back, Malachi 4 and 5, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord, Yahweh. So we know that he had to have come back, because we have this truth, we have this knowledge, and we can clearly see that we're at the end. So that's why we believe that it was High Priest Elder Abba Bivens who the Lord sent back, ultimately being Elijah, the prophet. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So it's all biblical prophecy, man. It was destined for us to come back to our heritage, man, to this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet. Okay? And you see us standing upon our feet. Like I said in Ezekiel the 37th chapter, right? An exceeding great army standing upon their feet. And great fear fell upon them which saw them. Mainly speaking about these elites, man. Okay? Like it says in Isaiah the 13th chapter. The burden of Babylon, which this truth is a burden to Babylon the Great, America, right? Ultimately, it's a burden to Esau's power structure, to his rulership. It's a burden unto him because it's undoing all of the lies that this devil has told, and it's taking all of the strongholds of lies that this devil had. It's taking them down with the word of truth. So that's why this devil is in straits. Okay, so this truth is a burden unto this nigga, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. It says, it says, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain being Babylon, America, the banner being the scriptures, man. Exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles representing these elites, right? These elite banking families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. Y'all know, for the ones that know them, where you have the DuPonts, Gettys, so on and so forth, man, at the end of the day. So it's a burden unto them because they're being exposed at a very high level. But at the end of the day, as I said, it was all biblical prophecy, man. It was destined for this to happen, man, for us to come back into our remembrance. All right. But yeah, man, I just wanted to go into that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. And until next time, I want to say shalom.